Hello students, my name is Zubair Raja. I have already uploaded two videos on the bond evaluation in which I explained how to find the price of a bond. In this video, through another example, I will show you how to find the price of a bond. So this will reinforce your concept to find the price of a bond. So this is a question. So there is a company which is called Tracer Manufacturers, and 10-year they have issued a bond of 10-year maturity. It means they are going to borrow the funds for 10 years from the first investor. And once the 6th year has been passed, the first investor wants to sell it in the market. So Tracer Manufacturer issued a 10-year bond 6 years ago. The bond's maturity value is $1,000 and its coupon interest rate is 6%. Interest is paid semi-annually, means twice a year. The bond matures in 4 years. If investor requires if investor required rate of return is equal to 5% to invest in a similar bond, what is the current market value of the Tracer bond? So this company has issued a 10-year bond, and after 6 years the investor who invested in this bond wants to sell in the open market. So it means that the second investor, if he wants to buy this bond, we want to determine what price he will be agreed to pay to the first investor to invest in this bond. Now remember, after 6 years, now 4 years will be left only to 4 years will be only left in the maturity of this bond. So it was issued 10 years back. For 6 years it was remained with the investment, remained with the first investor, and now the second investor is willing to buy this bond, and the first investor is also trying to sell this bond. And now we want to know what should be the price of this bond in the market. So for that, it is always better to set this timeline. Can you see this? So remember, the interest is being paid twice a year. So because the interest is being paid twice a year, it means that we need to convert the 4 years, which is actually the remaining period till the maturity of this bond, into the periods. So there are 8 6-month periods in 4 years. That is the reason why this is the calculation over here. Sorry, not over here, this one over here, total interest period. So you need to multiply the 4 years with 2, where 2 is actually the number of the frequency of interest paid in a year, because it is being paid twice a year. So 2 multiplied by 4, it will give 8. So can you see this timeline? So this is end of the period 0, means right now. End of the period 1 means after 6 months. End of the period 2 means after further 6 months. So after total of 12 months, and the end of the 12 months from the starting period. Then end of the period 3 means further after 6 months. End of the period 4 further after 6 months. So at end of the year period 4 means from the start the 2 years has already been passed. So likewise, the end of the year 8 means the total 4 years has been passed, and this is 8 periods because there are 8 6-month periods in 4 years. And why we are concerned about 6-month period? Because the interest is being paid twice a year. So after 6 months and after further 6 months. So the frequency of the interest paid in a year should be multiplied by the total number of years. So total number of years to it till its maturity is 4 years, multiplied by 2, total is 8 periods, right? So now the second investor wants to find what is actually the price over here. What is the price at this point, right? So over here right now, so the concept is same. You need to discount the values, the all the future cash flows which is associated with this bond right now over here, right, at this point. So first of all, we need to know how much cash flow is associated with this bond. Remember, this bond is paying the coupon rate of 6%. So when the bond was issued, at that time might be the interest rate in the economy was 6%. So that is the reason 6% coupon rate was 6% coupon rate was there when this bond was issued. So it means, what is the annual interest payment? Simply 6% multiplied by 1000. Remember this 6% multiplied by 6%. If you divide 6% by 100, it will give you 0.06. If you multiply it with 1000, which is the face value of the bond, it gives us $60 per year. So every year the total interest payment associated with this bond will be $60, and because the interest is being paid twice a year, so it means this $60 will be paid in two equal installments. So after every 6 months, $30 will be paid. 60 divided by 2, which will give us 30. So $30 will be paid after 6 months, then further 6 months $30, further 6 months $30. Likewise, after each period, at the end of each period, which is 6 month period, $30 will be paid, and then in the last, the face value, which is $1000, will also be paid. So now let us see how we can do the calculation. So we have this calculator, BA2 plus calculator, and these in the third row we have all these like the buttons which we will use, or functions which we will use to calculate the present value of the bond. And this is actually the question, that what is the present value of the bond. So remember, n is over 8 because there are 8 6-month period in the remaining 4 years, right? So we will simply put 8 and then press n, right? Now interest, this interest has nothing to do with the coupon payment, right? Coupon interest rate. Remember, in the question the coupon interest rate is 6%, but it has nothing to do with this coupon interest rate. This interest has everything to do with the second investor's required rate of return. So look over here. If the second investor, so if the investor require a rate or require a return equal to 5% to invest in a similar bond, so in other words, his required rate of return is 5%, and this 5% is for the whole year. Over here, for the purpose of our calculation, we need to convert this annual 5% rate of required rate of return into per period required rate of return. And over here, remember, each period is 6 months, right? So we have to divide this 5%, which is the annual required rate of return, by the number of times the interest is being paid in 1 year. Again, the number of times the interest is being paid 1 year is 2, right? So interest payment frequency in a year is 2. So 5% divided by 2, it gives us 2.5%. So the required rate of return by the second investor, who is going to set the price, who wants to know that what price he needs to pay in order to get this bond, is turns out to be 2.5%, because his required rate of return, annual required rate of return to invest in this bond is 5%. He needs 5% in rate of return rate of return through investing in this bond. So his required rate of return is 5%, but again this is annual rate of return, so you have to convert it into per period required rate of return. So 5% divided by 2, because there are 2 times interest is being paid in a year, it will give us 2.5%. So over here in the interest, we will punch in 2.5 and then we will press interest. And again, this 2.5% we have not, when we will be calculating or using the BA2 calculator to find the price of the bond, we do not have to convert it to decimals by dividing it with the 100. So 2.5%. Now we need to find present value, which is actually the present value of all these future cash flows. So we need to find the present value of all of each of these future cash flows and add them together. This is how we'll find the total present value of all these future cash flows. In other words, the price of this bond. So this is actually the question. That's why I have put this sign over here. Present value we have to find. In other words, we have to find the price of the bond, right? So now, sorry, over here, the price of the bond we still have to determine. So before that we have to plug in the other numbers. So now the next function is payment, PMT. So payment is actually the equal interest payments which this bond is going to pay for the rest of its life. So equal the same interest payment and after equal interval of time. Over here we know what is the interest payment. This is $30 after each period. And remember, each period is composed of 6 months. So it's the same payment but at equal interval of time. $30, $30, $30, $30 after each 6 months. So this $30 will come over here, payment. Then finally, so apart from these equal payments or equal payments after equal interval of time, in the last we will also receive $1,000, which is the face value of this bond, and this is already given in the data, this one, right? So if you see over here, we need to punch in this 1,000 in the future value. That's it. So we first enter we first press 1,000 and then press future value button. So this 1,000 is going over there. Do not confuse with this fact that in the last period we are also receiving $30 and $1,000. This $30 is actually the it is actually the interest payment. So BA2 calculator will, when we press $30 and enter into the payment, so this $30 got segregated from this 1,000 future payment. So BA2 calculator want us to separately categorize this face value which we will receive at the end, and we need to punch this $1,000 separately in future value. So in future value we do not need to press $1,030, only the $1,000. The $30 when we punched into payment, it automatically assumed, the BA2 calculator, that at the end of the last period the $30 will also be received. So now we are all set to find the present value. We simply first have to press the compute button and then present value. So this is actually the price of the bond which the second investor needs to pay in order to get this bond, $1,035.85. and if you see, this price is more than the face value. And why is it so? Because in my last two lectures I also told you that the interest rate in the economy moves opposite to the price, the price and the interest rate in the economy, the price of the bond and the interest rate in the economy, they move in the opposite direction. So in this case, the interest rate in the economy after 6 years got increased by 1%. So after 6 years, the interest rate is actually, decreased. The interest rate is 5%, right? 5%, because this is the investor is setting his required rate of return based of the interest rate in the economy. So it is 5%. So 5% is the the required rate of return or the interest rate in this case, and this is below the 6% coupon rate. So when the original when originally this bond was issued 6 years back, the coupon rate was set as 6%, and normally the coupon rate are set according to the interest rate in the economy. So it means after 6 years the interest rate in the economy reduced from 6% to 5%. So when the interest rate in the economy reduce after after 6 years, the comparable bonds are being issued at the coupon rate of 5%. So this means this existing bond is actually giving more interest rate, which is $30, compared to the new comparable bonds in the economy, which will be giving $25 after each 6-month period. It means everyone try to buy this bond, because this bond, the old one, this bond will be is giving more interest compared to the new comparable bonds. So this will actually increase the price of this bond, and it will increase so the price of this bond will be more than the face value. So again, if the interest rate in the economy or the required rate of return by the new investor, it is below the coupon interest rate, like the rate which will determine the coupon payments, then the price of the bond will be more than the face value of the bond. For example, in this case, as we have already seen, it is $1,035 rather 1,000. So this is more than the face value. And again, why it is negative? Because this second investor needs to invest $1,035 in this bond in order to get all these future cash flows, $30 for the next 8 periods, and $1,000 at the end of the, this is the final lump sum payment at the end of the 8th period. I hope this example have further reinforced your concept in a very good way, that how to evaluate or how to find the price of the bond. Thank you.